Hi, it's Greg Archer with MovieWeb. How are you today, Jay?
Good. Nice to meet you, Greg. Very well.
Good. Good to connect. Thank you for your time. Great film. Really great film. I believe you said in a recent interview that while reading the script, you felt like you knew this guy. How so?
I related to him in a lot of ways. First, I related to him in the ways that I didn't have control over, for sure, with the desire to give to family, the desire to sacrifice my own self for the progression of my family. I related to the upbringing of where he came from, the type of community that he grew up in. I related to the type of people in his family. And ultimately, I've seen this story personally in my life with people I was connected to growing up, as somebody having all the potential in the world, everything going for them. And there's just one bad decision, one bad day. So a lot of relatability.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that. What was the one thing that stood out when you reached out to Rob Peace's family? I guess to seek their blessing. I believe you went to their home in New Jersey.
Sure did. Yeah, it was heavy. It was heavy for me because I knew I had to, but I'm naturally a shy guy. I get a little shy sometimes, and I get nervous. And I deal with a little anxiety, and I feel like I needed to, regardless of it. My knees shaking, and I knock on the door, and Uncle opens the door, and I see Jackie walking in from the other room, and it was just, again, I couldn't have checked any other mark if I checked that one off first. I just needed to ask for the blessing because honestly, I would want it from somebody to ask for that blessing if something like this happened to me. God forbid. I would want that same type of acknowledgement. It's bigger than a Hollywood uh, thing.
Right. It sounds like they gave you a warm reception. They received you well and they gave you that blessing.
It was and I don't know it at first. It was if it was and I was nervous because they were skeptical. The guy coming in, knocking on your door, asking to play your son in a movie. It was a little skepticism at first, but after conversation, I think they began to warm up to my energy that I was coming pure, and very very genuinely, I had nothing to gain from this. Honestly, a lot more to lose of my own. Like, it's a price to play characters like this. Your imagination doesn't really know the difference of what's being made up or not. It subconsciously doesn't really know. You have to train it back and be like, hey, this is a movie. This is here. And imagine I gotta watch this for the rest of my life. It's a price that comes with this that I was willing to pay, but I felt like it was bigger for his mother and his family and the outreach that it would do for the people he was connected to in the community.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. You seem like a very deep and introspective human. Is that true?
I would like to think so. I mean, I guess so. It just happened. I just one day I'm like, wow, here's a hand. So I guess it's a little introspective sometimes for sure.
I love that. I love that. This is your first time headlining a film. It's big. How would you say Chiwetel took your work to the next level as a director?
He just wanted me to go deeper constantly. He always wanted me to find new dimensions to what I'm feeling about, to the story, properly research it all. I can't just come out here saying these scientific words without knowing what the ins and out of it. Like I was literally learning, like he made me do tutoring sessions where I'm learning about these things, and it was a whole full thing. So it was deep. It was deeper. It was it reminded me of your actors project. To any actor that loves to be an actor, they would love to do this. They would love to be directed by Chiwetel and do this movie.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I understand you brought this back to Juilliard, where you went to school, and you
sure.
screened for them. How was that for you?
Oh wow. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. That's crazy how that got out. I didn't know that you knew that one. It was a feat for me, because I knew what it meant for me to get to Juilliard myself. Long story short, I left everything I knew down South Carolina, just so I could pursue something deeper. So didn't even tell my family that I was going to audition. I just flew out on my own terms, packed a little book bag, and I went to the audition out there, and sweat, blood, and tears, just to stay there, just to, get there and learn something. Got there, graduated, finally, then I brought it back, and it was my, to be able to do and see this film in the room that I auditioned in when I first went there, dreaming about something like this. Changed, it was just fuel to my engine. I was so blessed. People came up to me and was like, man, that's a flex, man, that's a flex. And I'm just thankful, because it's like it's validation for me, letting me know that nothing was in vain. Everything paid off.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
You're a musician and a rapper, yes?
Yeah, sure.
So who do you credit as some of your biggest influences? Who's really informed you? And what can we expect from you in that realm next? Because I, from my understanding, you might be working on something.
Yeah, I'm working on a tape right now. Just figuring out how I want to give that to the world. But my initial inspirations had more to do with the acting world and poetry, writing, specifically Shakespeare and his sonnets. Going into his work and how all of the magical things that are within it, the rhymes, the couplets, the schemes, all of it, the caesura, all of it for me. I remember I was like, I want to do that. I want to try to figure out how I can do that about my life, and time went forward. I just wanted to put it with like a instrumental, or a beat. And I started to rap on it my first year at college, and I felt like, yeah, this is I'm finding what kind of artist I want to be. Time went forward, and I just locked in, got all my software, and I've been producing my own beats to this day, and writing over my music to this day. Where we are now with the music process is creating more of the portfolio of the visuals. If I can find a way, which is happening, for me to bridge the gap between the acting and the rapping, there will be a beautiful hybrid of like Hamilton was great, but the storytelling aspect just is music, it is rap, and I want to bridge both of them together, so we can expect for a lot of new hybrids to come very soon.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
a few more questions for you. What was the biggest, or what do you feel has been the biggest lesson you've learned from being on Taylor Sheridan's Tulsa King?
Man, that is a business in the end of the day. I got into the game, so green, so ready to experiment and explore, and create, innovate my character. But time went forward, I'm learning, okay, time, a lot of people in your circle might not have that same type of artistic inclinations about it is a business, so it was a switch for me to navigate myself as such, but to keep the life of like the inner child, carrying it the whole time, letting it be the fuel, or just the propeller of it all. But it's a business, and maturing my mind to understand that, it's not all, it's not all kicks and giggles, it can definitely become a factory sometimes, and appreciating the duality of that, allows me to just humble myself. So I appreciate that. It sounds conflicting, but I do appreciate that. It's a sobering thing.
I love that. Well, one quick question for you. There's a moment in the film where somebody is telling you it's time for you to fly so they can see they can. And that's great advice, especially for young people. So what advice would you give or impart?
It's okay to trust yourself and what you know, because they might not be right. I think that inner thing that tells you that you can do it, or that little idea or hitch that we get, we pass off. That's where the magic is. I honestly know that I wouldn't be here if I didn't listen to that thing that got me out of down south. I got out of South because I listened to that thing within myself. No, other people might have been like, no, it might be hard or this or that. Well, really, you only know for yourself. So trusting our own discernment, trusting our own intuition and our own like inner self, greater is that than external advantages.
Wonderfully put. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on this. It's going to be great to see how people respond to it.
Thank you, Greg, for your questions. I really appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Keep doing what you're doing. Be well.
You stay well.